Donald Trump gives a speech to the nation on the 2020 elections and the involvement of our intelligence agencies and other bad actors and mayhem. The networks, many of the networks did not carry it, disparaged it in advance, had to fact check it, etc. What's your take on what Donald Trump said and your take on the spin or the intransigence of these leftist media elite?
Well, I don't think it's we've got so many things right now with the budget and the SAVE Act and Iran, and we've got great economic news on inflation. GDP is pretty good. Still worried about the deficit, but that's another topic. But I don't know having it. When you address the nation, maybe it would have been on Iran, or maybe it would have been on the good news from the economy. But that election is, I understand he wants to remind people so that they don't do it the next time. But I think the whole MAGA emphasis on the actual election day cheating, and now we hear from Mark Wayne Mullen that there's 1 million votes that were cast or registered voters that got ballots.
He says 250,000 non-citizens registered to vote in 4 Democrat-run states.
Yes, 4 states, million voters. That could have any of the swing states that would change the election. They were illegal and they know it. But the issue I think he should say is, I'm not going to adjudicate 2020 because by the time the ballots were cast, the system had been altered under the pretense of COVID. And now what do I mean by that? And then he could just do the items that Molly Ball in her Triumphalist article, she's a woman of the left, bragged that what they did. They changed the voting laws by going to lawsuits to district court judges and such, and in blue states to the legislatures. And what had traditionally been 30% of an absentee ballot was rebranded mail-in ballots, and that was 70% almost nationwide. And they brought in, under the guise of COVID, that you could register to vote without an ID, without a driver's license. They would give you an ID if you could use a credit card, you could use almost anything. But if you didn't have anything, they would give you a number, and then you could vote that same day. You could be ballot hard. That changed radically the entire American electoral system in one direction for the left. And so that's what I wish he would concentrate on. I don't know if it was illegal or legal, but the way that it did it altered the way we voted. And if you look at population increases, there's no way in the world that you would get so many voters voting in more people voted in 2020 than in 2024. It was just astounding. It was just a sudden rise of voters. And we know now that, Mark Zuckerberg spent $417 million to appropriate the work of the registrars in key swing states. And by that, I mean basically give them all this money to put drop boxes that couldn't really be accounted for all over their states, money to sue, to extend the balloting, mail-in ballots as in here in California, for 10 days, 7 to 10 days, depending on each particular state that the ballot could be cast. So it really ruined the system. It really did. And we know it because Senator Slotkin let the cat out of the bag when she was commenting on the SAVE Act that said, everybody's going to have an ID. Everybody's going to have to be pre-registered. You have a window you can vote early if you wish. You can, but it'll be, you can mail in, but it'll be an absentee ballot. You'll have an excuse like we used to do. And primarily, you're going to be expected to show up at the polls, show an ID, and your name will be crossed off a list of previously registered voters. And if you're not registered that day, you're not going to vote. If you don't show up that day, you're not going to vote. And when she said, well, we can't win elections like that, that's what she said, basically. We can't. Of course, she was right. They can. So that was the biggest piece of legislation, I think, that the Senate is dealing with. They've only got, what, 20 days before recess?
Hardly
And I
any
don't know
time.
why they're not doing something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the old holdouts. Why don't they go to Susan Collins or Lisa Murkowski or Rand Paul, whoever it is? I think he's with the majority on this one, and just say to them, what do you object to, and how can we work to get your votes and get this through? And
Yeah.
and JD, he's nominally. I mean, he's not nominally. He is the head of this of
He's
the Senate.
president of the Senate.
He's
Yeah.
president of the Senate, and he breaks tie votes. And so I think Kim Strassel wrote a pretty tough article about him. I know both JD and Kim, and I like them both, but she had a point that if you're at this time is running out and you've really got to galvanize the senators, and they're not that close. Trump is a different type of politician. You want the president of the Senate, your guy, to go camp out in the Senate and count votes every single day, and then find out how many you need and what they want. But you don't want to go on Joe Rogan or something pushing your book while you're vice president at this particular time when you have a recess coming up. So my point was, if I were vice president and I were to write a book, I would have timed the pub date to coincide with the August recess. And then I would have spent every single 20 hours a day on that Senate floor and on the phone, making sure that you get this passed. Otherwise, it would look like a complete disorganized mess.
Yeah. Kim's, we weren't going to go here, but we will now. We were going to wait, but Kim's Wall Street Journal op-ed begins. Republicans were eagerly awaiting their Tuesday meeting with Vice President JD Vance, hoping he'd break Congress's gridlock. They instead were notified of a scheduling conflict as Air Force Two winged to Texas. That's where he went for the Joe Rogan experience, where he bashed the Senate for its, quote, procedural bull blank. So, and yes, he's promoting a book. And another tough article, kind of along the same lines, I think even stronger, Lee Smith in the Tablet compared Vance to Barack Obama. And also he's now written his second memoir for someone who's not even, 45. Very tough stuff, I think. So, how much of it's totally deserved, I don't know, Victor, but
I don't know either. But I do know this, that right now, when we're in a fighting mode in the Middle East, Israel is giving us targeting information, and Iran is attacking us, and the Gulf states are not doing anything. And so it doesn't seem wise to say Israel's, and we're reaching as soon as Trump turned his attention to the Lebanese government and said Hezbollah is the reason why Israel is there. So if you want Israel out of Lebanon, you have to, with our help, and now that we've defanged Iran and they don't have any money, now is the time. You'll never have a better time to get Hezbollah out. And Israel said, if you don't send missiles into us, we will withdraw backwards. So given all what I just said, I don't know why you'd say that our only ally can't kill its way out of its problem. That's what I don't understand. I mean, on October 7th, there were 5,000 people, and they were not just Hamas. They were members of all those Palestinian radical terrorist groups that sent volunteers. There were just tag-along people that just wanted to go kill and rape Jews and torture them, and they all went in there. Take away that, and we wouldn't be anywhere where we are now. It's very simple. And I don't see why people can't see that. And then you wait 3 weeks, and you don't go into Gaza, and you say to them all, give us back the hostages, give us the people who were the murderers, and they don't do it, then what are you supposed to do?